The VAR Show. The one place for your weekly football update.
Hola, a very warm welcome to the VAR show, the show which talks about all the various major football leagues in detail. Today we are going to continue the theme of interviews, and we have the former goalkeeper of Liverpool Football Club and also the Netherlands national team, Mr. Sander Westerveld, with us today. So without wasting much time, I would like to first thank Sander Westerveld for coming on the show. Thank you so much and welcome to the show, and I would like to begin by asking you, how are you and what are you doing during this pandemic period?
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting me. Hello. I must say I'm healthy. My family's healthy, and I think, looking at the situation in the world, I think that's a luxury, and so I can't complain. So all the problems I have are luxury problems. I'm very involved in football, and everything I do is involves football. And in Holland it stops. England only starts this week, or it's only started now. For me it was quite boring, a couple of months. But like I said, we're healthy, and we in Holland we had an intelligent lockdown, so we were able to leave the house and go on the bikes, go to the shops that were open. So it's more a little bit boring, but we're still healthy, so it's good.
Okay, so we'll move on to a lighter topic, that is football, in comparison to what's happening all around the world. And you have played in some amazing teams around Europe and across the world actually. So, how were the cultures, in terms of football different in different countries you went in?
Korea, you always look at trophies and what did you win, and what is your legacy. But for me, I think the most important thing in my career is playing in all those countries and meeting so many cultures and people, and also for my family, exposing them to different cultures in the world, and just opening their eyes, because I think every country is different, and it's very important as well to adapt to the situation, which I thought was the most important thing. The first thing I had to do when I was in a new country is learning the language, not only to speak on the pitch but also to speak to the people on the streets, because that's very important to understand the culture, and also to if you go to Africa, for example. The African people, they have a different mentality than the Dutch. We Dutch are famous for straightforward, straight in your face. We can shout at you in the face. And for example, we had a Dutch player in Ajax Cape Town, and we both Dutch. If he made a mistake or I made a mistake, you had to go at each other, and we were telling each other the truth, like, and the people were all like, oh, they're in a big fight, and then we walk off the training pitch or the game like arm in arm, and they didn't understand. They said, like, how can you be so angry? I said, no, we all want the same goal, and I'm just helping him. I'm not criticizing him personally. So it's and the African people, and I don't want to be disrespectful, but also the Asian people, most of the times, if they have an older player, they really look up to the players. They listen to the coach, and if the coach tells them what to do, they only do this. And also the older players as well. So for me, it was a responsibility to just act in a proper way and in a responsive way, a responsible way, that I could learn them something. But it's always if you get to know the cultures in a team, it's also great to speak to a guy who doesn't speak English, to a Spanish guy. After a couple of months, I spoke Spanish, and then suddenly you can see he's opening up more, and it really helps in a team as well, because a team, you need your team. So you need everybody together, and if you can speak the same language and then know how you can, his background and how to react, it's really important to have success.
So definitely. So looking at your background, I'll talk about that. You had one of your most successful time at Liverpool. You won the Cup treble. How was your time at Liverpool?
Well, I think it was as a young boy. I'm from '74, so growing up in the '80s when I started watching football, I think Liverpool was the biggest club in the world almost. They were winning Champions Leagues and all the leagues, and it became my club. And when I started playing football, you always have dreams, and my dream was for especially for Liverpool, which is well, not. I think every Liverpool player in all the press conference say, "Yeah, that was my favorite club in the past." But for me, it was really a fact, and everybody that knows that here in Holland. And I said it in interviews before. So the minute I signed for Liverpool, there was a dream come true for me, and from the very first minute until the last minute, or maybe not the last, maybe a couple of weeks. It was just it was a big dream, and it was just amazing to be a part of such a big team.
So, like, of course, this question again you would have been asked, like, in every way you have been. How are the fans at Liverpool?
Well, the fans are amazing. I've been lucky to grow up in Holland in the east, and we have a club called Twente, my old club, and they are very fanatical. And so, yeah, I thought this is just great. And but then I went to Vitesse, and the minute I arrived at Anfield, it's just special. Everybody that had an experience of being at Anfield knows how special it is, and especially for a goalkeeper as well. And they cheer for everything. I can kick the ball out of the stadium, and they still cheer for you. And imagine, saving a ball. The whole stadium is always behind you, even after a loss. The people will still applaud you, and they're always behind you. And the atmosphere and shouting and singing for 90 minutes, that really gives you a boost on the pitch, which is just looking back, because at that moment I was just enjoying it. But now playing for so many teams and so many countries, I know that that is very special. The Liverpool fans are very special.
So, you played around 75 times for Liverpool in your 2 years there. And,
106.
Sorry?
106.
106? Okay, I made a mistake that means.
No. It's league games, and I want to play as much as possible games. So I always say, and that's what the English say as well. If I'm in England, they say, "Oh, you played 103, 106 games," because they put all the cup games together as well, and the European, which I think is fair. So yeah, 75 league games I played, which is not enough.
Okay, we'll make it 106 total games for Liverpool. But like the one which, for me, when I was searching your, looking back at your history, the ball, you made a mistake against Bolton, and it is said that was the one of the reasons you was, moved on from the club. Do you think the decision was very hard on you?
Yeah, of course. Like I said before, it wasn't not a normal club for me. This was my dream club, and I know that I always gave more than 100% in training and in the games. And I was. They took me because they had problems with the defense. That's what the manager told me. In my first year, we had the most clean sheets and the best defense in England. So I had a decent first year. The second year, of course, was the historical treble year with the 5 prizes in one calendar year. And then, of course, as a goalkeeper, you make mistakes. You can see that in all the goalkeepers all over the world are making mistakes. And I never really understood why I had to leave. I understood if they weren't happy with me, they bought one new goalkeeper. But just not giving me the chance to fight back was really, for me, a decision I really had a problem with for a long time. I just got I think a couple of weeks ago, there was somebody who said in the press, when there was something about the FA Cup and me, they said, Sander was so good that it took two goalkeepers to replace him, which I thought was funny. And that's what but on the other hand, that's football. Football is not always fair. Sometimes it's a little bit harsh. I wish, like I said, it was a special club for me. If it would have been another club, I would just probably continue my life and say, okay, here we go, a new club. This was just, I was really, unhappy that I had to leave because I didn't want to leave. And but then again, you're still young, so you don't understand. but now I must be grateful for the coach as well, that he was the one that signed me, and I had 75 League Cups and 103 or 6 games for Liverpool. And so he gave me the opportunity, which I have to be grateful for. But at that time, it felt really, it didn't feel the same. So I felt a bit, it felt a bit harsh. But I think from the very first minute till even last week, every time I speak to fans, they all say the same, and they don't understand why I left. So that gives me also, a bit comfort.
So, like you said, you're young, and even you didn't understand why you were moved on. How did you mentally come back from that,
Well, like I said, it is difficult. So the thing also was that it was the last day of the transfer deadline. So they bought the 2 goalkeepers, and I couldn't sign for any club anymore. So I couldn't do anything else than stay at Liverpool for another 6 months until December, which I think at the end also gave me an opportunity to cope with the situation and to deal with the situation, and to just the minute I understood that there was no chance for me to come back at Liverpool, there was no future for me, just to switch that button in my head and focus on the future, and how hard it is. It's still, you have to think about yourself in the football world. It's sometimes hard, it's sometimes beautiful, but it's all about yourself. And I was just focused on myself and trying to get as fit as possible for the opportunity that would come in December, or if not, the next season. So I just had to focus on that. And I must say, I never blamed anybody. I wasn't really sabotaging stuff. Or the very first day I met Jerzy Dudek, because we speak Dutch. He played in Holland. I helped him with his English, and I gave him a whole list of coaching words for training. And people were surprised that I was doing this, but for me it was just normal. It was just another player. It wasn't his mistake that I had to leave. So I think if you are in good harmony with each other and in the team, it's just it's very important. And I think throughout my whole career I did the same, and it helped me a lot. But mentally it was tough. But like I said, once you find that switch and you just focus on yourself in the future, good things will happen.
So, moving on from the topic, and also I'll touch a topic in which, people still remember you. You are a penalty expert, and most notable being the Andrew Johnson save, in the English League Cup, where you saved the penalty. How did you prepare for penalties?
Well, for some reason, and from the beginning until the end of my career, until my last game I ever played, I never lost a penalty shootout in any tournament. And which for me, if you start like this, if you start winning with penalties and stopping penalties, I saved 6 out of 8 penalties in the year we almost won the league in Spain. And sometimes it's just a hunch. It's such a feeling. It's just okay, maybe you can see in the way he's moving and the history of penalties he took before maybe helps you. But it's all a mental thing. You try to maybe try to get him out of his rhythm, his concentration, and it's also something like as a goalkeeper you can never be wrong. You will always be the hero or nothing. Nobody can blame you. So, which for me, it gives you a lot of confidence. So you can do whatever you want, and you can do whatever you do. And if you have the confidence, sometimes you need a little bit of luck. And throughout my career, I made my own luck, but sometimes you need a little bit luck to win those trophies. And I stopped 2 penalties, but I must say the penalties that Liverpool took were just amazing. Everybody remembered Jamie Carragher, I think, running up for 30 meters and smashing the ball in the top corner. That's also luck. For a goalkeeper, you need players that kick the ball in. You can save 3 penalties and still lose. So it was just a combination of luck and maybe my qualities of saving penalties.
So, staying with the theme that English Premier League has returned and we have the Merseyside Derby, you also played for Everton, 2 times in 2006. And you said that the Liverpool fans are very passionate. Do they give you stick for that?
No, actually, and I remember when they phoned me, I was having a difficult period in Portsmouth, where I was a signing from the French coach Perrin, and then Harry Redknapp came in and put all those new signings on the bench, including me. And then, yeah, David Moyes phoned me, and yeah, he was talking about he had problems with goalkeepers, and can you help me for a month? And I was just thinking about myself and saying like, okay, it's an opportunity to show myself to the world again and get some match fitness. So I said yes, and then I put the phone down and I thought, oh, wait, this is Everton. And for some reason, it was funny that all my 9 out of 10 friends I had and made in Liverpool were Evertonians always. So I straight away phoned them and said, well, how about this? And they straight away said, no, 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 this is, everybody knows the situation. The Everton fans, they won't hate you because you're Liverpool. They understand why you're there. You're helping them. And once you put the Everton shirt on with the crest, you are an Evertonian. So they will back you up. And the Liverpool fans also knew why I was there. And I didn't go straight from Liverpool to Everton. I didn't move for the money. They knew why I never wanted to leave Liverpool, and I had to. So I never had a fan of Liverpool or Everton that gave me stick for making that decision. And I think, and I said it often in interviews, it's one of the best things I've ever done in my career. And because I really thought that once I got there, I thought, like, I don't know how this is going to work. And from the very first minute, the fans of Everton, they took me in as one of them. And they gave me such a good feeling when I walked on the pitch, and they all applauded me like this is something I didn't really expect it. And yeah, it was just 1 month, but it was just, I think, the feeling I had there, and yeah, the confidence and how friendly they treated me, just yeah, made it one of the most beautiful moments in my career, I think.
So, you are currently the goalkeeping coach at the KNVB. So, do you
Yeah.
plan like into getting into like maybe as a full-time coach, as in like a head coach of a team anytime soon?
Well, I'm at the moment. I've got 4 kids, and I was a football player for 20 years. And of all the good things about a football player and all the positive sides, there's also a side where people don't understand, but you miss a lot with your family as well. And once I stopped, I decided to spend more time with my family and go and camping with them, go to school parts and plays, watch them play football, and I can do that now. And I never wanted to be a club coach, because then I'm having this footballer's life again. So I try to do as much as possible. Of course, I really love being a coach, but as a coach for the federation, gives me the opportunity to just do it for a week in a month, do some scouting. I work and do commentary for games, for Liverpool games, for Dutch games. I work for the federation on another level for world coaches. They go all around the world to give clinics, and I play games with the legends of Liverpool and with the Dutch national team. So I'm involved in all things. Like I'm testing and trying all things that I think I like. And yeah, the future is for me open. I'm doing this training course now, coaching course that starts in August, just to try it and see if I like it. And like I said before, I got the kids now. They are still young. Maybe when they're older and then fly out of the house, maybe I'm back in coaching again to be really involved with the club. But at the moment, I'm really enjoying the things I do now.
So, you have played for many illustrious clubs in your career under a lot of great managers. So, but if you had to choose one manager who had the most drastic effect on you as a player, who would that be?
Drastic effect. Well, there are maybe 2 coaches that really stick out. It's like I can name a lot of coaches. I can name Frank Rijkaard, who was the national team coach that gave me my debut for the national team. He took me to the national team. I learned a lot with Louis van Gaal, which I thought was tactical, was the best coach, which gave me, brought me to another level, even as a football coach, not even a goalkeeper coach. And then you have the goalkeeper coaches that changes me, especially the one at the Real Sociedad, who is now at Man City, Mansi Sador, which technically as well, and it made me a different goalkeeper and a better one. I made such big steps when I was there, and I wish I had him a little bit earlier. But if I have to name one or two, we talked about Houllier before. Of course, that's if you talk about drastic. I was living the life. I was going places. Every year I was making steps to go to the top. And then he stopped that at Liverpool, and I had to start all over again. But I think the most important coach in my career was Leo Beenhakker. When I was a young player, I went from my hometown, Twente, to play for Vitesse because they gave me the opportunity to be the number one. I was still young, unknown, and I played the first 10 games. And all the balls were just flying in. I wasn't making mistakes, but I didn't really make saves either. So the people were like, complaining. And I was just like, my confidence dropped. And then he came to me, and instead of telling me what a lot of coaches do, like, okay, you're out, next one in, you had your chance. He was like, hey, I've got confidence. I know what you do. I know what you can do. Do whatever you want, but just have the confidence and come for crosses and just be yourself and show that to the world. And I was like, okay, if I can make mistakes, I can just do whatever I'm good in. We played the derby the following game, and I was man of the match. And from then on, it was just my career started, I think, from that moment. So there was a breaking point in my career. He could have put me on the bench, and then my career would have ended and started really differently. But instead of doing this and giving me the confidence, he started my career. So I think he's the most important coach for me in my career.
So the next question, I'll put you in a little bit difficult spot. Okay, it'll be a little bit difficult. And if you had to choose one trophy out of the 5 you own in 2000-2001, which one will that be?
Well, that's a difficult one because I remember that after the European Cup we won against Alaves, I was in the coach in the bus with the cup, holding the cup, sitting next to Robbie Fowler. And I was like, wow, this is the best moment in my life. And then he says, well, what are you talking about? That was last week, because the week before, you can see the picture behind me, that was the FA Cup final against Arsenal. And for him, the FA Cup, that was the biggest trophy for him after the Champions League. So the European Cup didn't really count. But for us, Dutch, the Dutch Cup doesn't mean much. And the European Cup, any European Cup, is just the biggest prize in the world. So at that moment, I thought, well, this is the big prize. And he told me like the FA Cup is more special. But then looking back at my career, I think the most important one actually was the first one. And not only because I made I won the penalty shootout, I saved 2 penalties, but more that that was the first one after 10 years. It's like winning the league now after 30 years. The first one is the most important one. And I think from the first game, from that first final against Birmingham City, where we won, I think that gave us so much confidence and experience in winning finals and going into finals, preparing for finals. I think because we won the first one, that gave us the experience to win all finals. And so that's why I think that was the most important one, because it was the first one after 10 years. And also like a little kickstart for the rest.
So, again, another difficult question. Please do not
Only
be
difficult questions.
do not put your political hat on.
No problem.
Since you left Liverpool, there have been many goalkeepers. Which one has been the best till now?
Well, that's an easy one then. So it must be Alisson. I think, I was getting better every year. That was my feeling, and I know for myself as well that I could have been a good goalkeeper. I could have played for Liverpool for 10 years and won maybe a couple of prizes as well. But okay, that's it. And then the other goalkeepers came, and it were always like I like Pepe Reina a lot. I like his style, and I knew him from Spain. I played against him against Barcelona and even Villarreal when he played there. So I really liked him, and he played for a long time, almost 8 years, I think, for Liverpool. Then we struggled a little bit with the goalkeepers. It's also the most difficult position in especially at Liverpool, because they had so much problems with goalkeepers. So they always, when a new goalkeeper comes in, they put a lot of pressure on them, and it's just very important to start well. And I think like Karius is a great goalkeeper, but he had the bad luck that all the mistakes he made were mistakes that lost them the game, especially the final, for example. So yeah, when Ellison came in, he started from day one. I think he played amazingly and gave him a lot of confidence. And with that confidence, he got better and better. And even when he made a mistake, I think it was away at Leicester or somewhere, where he dribbled on the byline. They still won 3-1. So you need games like this, even when you make a mistake. So he was a goalkeeper that at the end makes decisive saves that really win you games, and that's very important. And of course, now he's one of the best goalkeepers in the world, which so I give all the credit to him.
So again, like talking of the present Liverpool side, who had a more bigger impact in the team, like Alisson or Van Dijk, which transformed them from maybe challengers to winners?
That's a difficult one, because you need both. I think I would have been different and maybe better or even worse if Sami Hyypiä wasn't there. I came at the same time as Sami Hyypiä and Stefan Henshaw, and those two in front of me gave me so much confidence, but also didn't give me a lot of work. So sometimes I ended games where I didn't even touch the ball. So maybe for me, it would have been better if they didn't sign for Liverpool, maybe later, so I could establish myself as a goalkeeper first. But for Alisson as well, Van Dijk is so important, and that in difficult situations, a player like him, he takes so many balls and so much work away from you. And on the other side as well, like Van Dijk, he's got the confidence that whenever he makes a mistake, which hardly happens, he knows that he has the quality goalkeeper behind him that probably saves his ass, and so they really work together perfectly as a couple. And I don't think you can really make one more important than the other one. Van Dijk was the best defender in the world. Alisson was this season the best goalkeeper of the season. So yeah, I can't pick one, but if I have to, I'll always pick a goalkeeper, of course.
So like, what do you think about Jurgen Klopp? At Liverpool, how much has he changed Liverpool?
I think he changed everything. I tweeted years ago when he signed, and I said, okay, this is the best signing of Liverpool in the last 10 years. And I really meant that, because I knew him from even from Mainz and from Dortmund. Growing up in the east of Holland, I followed the German football all the time, and I still do. So I knew about him. I knew his philosophy. I knew the passion he has. So I knew this was a man that, at least in the first couple of years as well, everybody was like comparing him with other coaches, and hey, he's got no more points than the previous ones. But I always says, no, this guy gives you hope. You can see in the way he plays that it gives you hope that we're going somewhere. It's not like surviving the season and hopefully we win a league or maybe a cup. This was just like, whatever he does, you can see the team, even if we don't win, we can see the team is improving and getting better and better. And also because of him, he attracted a couple of quality players. And he's just one of those special coaches like Guardiola and Mourinho in his good times. So yeah, the minute he signed, I knew it would have been a good signing. And yeah, to be honest, I expected to have a little bit more success a little bit earlier, maybe 2 years ago with him. But at the end, if you see the team now and the way the club is, yeah, I think it's down to one man, and that's Jurgen Klopp.
So, talking about the present lot, which player do you like the most in the team?
I like Mane. Honestly, I can say Ellison every day, of course, because I'm a goalkeeper. I love Salah, but I think Mane is a little underestimated. Also like Gigi Wijnaldum. Everybody's talking about Van Dijk, and he shows that he never makes mistake. He's the best in the air. He's the best with his feet, the passing, everything. And then you have Salah, who is a special player. He's the top scorer in his first season, and he's so important. But whenever Salah has a bad game, Mane is always there. If Firmino is playing bad, Mane is always there, and he's just a player. He's small, but he's so powerful, so fast, and he's good in the air. He can head a ball as well. He can shoot with his left and right, and maybe because he's so underestimated a little bit. He's my favorite, and he's just a great person as well. Which a lot of players of Liverpool are at the moment. It's not only a football player for him. It's like Salah. He's sending all his money or half of his money to his village in Africa. He's helping people. A lot of charity work, which I think is important as well, because you're lucky to be a goalkeeper, a football player. But making other lives better is just something amazing what you can do, and everybody should praise him for that. So yeah, he's my favorite player, I think.
So Liverpool just missed out on Werner. He went to Chelsea, I think, yesterday. According to you, should they sign him to even become more better?
Well, I think that's the good thing about this team now is that they are good in every aspect, in every position in the team. They have a great player, and that was the difference with the past. Sometimes we had a great striker like Suarez and Torres, but we didn't have a good defender, or we didn't have the good goalkeeper, or we lacking in midfield, and there was always we lacking something. Now I think years you can see that the left and the right back are the best in England. The central defender is the best in the world. We have the best goalkeeper. The three strikers, or even the four strikers, and the number 10, they can play in any club in the world. So yeah, of course, Werner is a special player, and I really wish he would have signed for Liverpool. But at the end, I'm happy with the players we have. He would be an addition to the team. I don't think he would be better than somebody we have already. So I think at the moment we should just get players that make the squad better. And we have 11 good players, and now we have 15, 16 players. Even on the bench, we have great players. So I'm not really. If he wanted to go to Chelsea, let him go to Chelsea. It's his loss. He will see in a couple of years that he made a big mistake.
Definitely, hopefully so. So the next one is again maybe difficult. If in a hypothetical situation, Gerard Houlier's maybe treble winning team plays Klopp's UCL and maybe probably Premier League winning team, who would win?
Oh, well, that's. I don't think that's a difficult either. But I think the way Klopp's team is playing and the players in that team, I think they will beat us. Or maybe because I think when we played the European Cup, we played against Barcelona. And I thought at that time that Barcelona was a better team than us. But as you could see, we were away. We defended well. We got a 0-0 away from home. And then, we had a lucky penalty. We scored 1-0, and we went to the final. So in football, everything is possible. So you can see even Klopp, although he from the 500 games they only lost 2 maybe, but we could be that 1 or 2 teams that it's Gerard Houllier. We had a special team which we also had the luck. We were living on luck. If you see the finals, Birmingham, we could have lost. Arsenal, we should have lost the final. We should have lost 4-0. But for some reason, they didn't finish, or we were just defending well. And then we had Michael Owen. So, yeah, you can beat every team. And I think Klopp's team's got more quality. But, yeah, I think it would be maybe a 3-3, and then we would win on penalties.
Hopefully, I do not know. That is a hypothetical situation. So,
Yes.
moving on, if you had to give advice, to a young Sander starting out at 20, what advice would you give him?
In general, or looking back at my career, what I should have done differently?
Both,
Or
like in terms of both, maybe even life and even as a career.
yeah, like I said before, I think in football, everybody's always talking about team, and team is very important. But looking back and seeing the things, like I said, I think I did everything for Liverpool. I tried my best, and they still pushed me away, which it gave me a thought like, okay, it's the most important person in football is yourself. So you have to prepare yourself and do everything that you can to get to a certain level. And because also, like, I can't I don't have any regrets at Liverpool. I would have done exactly the same because I knew I gave everything. And if you do this, then you can never blame yourself, because I can't blame myself of not training hard enough, or maybe I never went out before games. So sometimes if you go out before the games, you see some players nowadays, they do stupid things and then they lose out on transfers because they tweeted something, all those stupid things. I tried everything, and then at the end, you can't blame yourself. So that's I think looking back in your career with no regrets, I think that's the best you can have. So you can just go out and prepare and give 100%, and that's all you can do. And then you need a little bit of luck, and if that luck doesn't come, at least you tried. So that's the only advice I can give. So don't make sure you can't blame yourself afterwards.
So, as a person, were you superstitious? Like before games, would you do some things?
No, and I always said that in interviews as well. Not that I hate it, but I dislike people that had things like this, because I didn't understand. Because some had an old, maybe an old sock or underwear. Or somebody had a ball in his bag for 20 years. And I always said, well, if you have to put, if you get confidence from this, what happens if your wife or somebody, you have a hole in your bag and your ball is out, or your underwear is missing, and then you start panicking. Johan Cruyff once had a thing that he went on the halfway line just before the toss. He kicked out his chewing gum. And then he kicked it in the air, and then he knew, or he said, whatever half of the pitch the chewing gum would drop, that team would win. So what happens if you just kick it on the opponent's half? Then you start the game already like, oh, we're going to lose. So I just had confidence in myself, and I went on a pitch thinking I'm the best goalkeeper in the world. I prepared myself. I did everything in training, and now I can just show it. And I never needed something else, because, like I said, some players, I know a goalkeeper, he had stashed all his things with his gloves on the top. Always before the games, the kit manager has to put it on. And then once, the kit manager walked with his bag and then pushed the whole thing over. And he got mad. He's like really like he lost it. So I think you should concentrate on the things you can change, and for yourself. If you have confidence, you don't need those things.
So, on that note, I'll ask you one final question, Sander, and this is even more difficult, like quite difficult. Whom do you prefer, Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo?
Messi, without a doubt. It's not a difficult question. Like I said before, I'm talking about. I like. No, I didn't say it, but people that know me know that I'm a normal guy. I don't feel any different than the cleaner in a hotel or the guy that takes the rubbish out of the street. I've got more respect for the guy that cleans the streets and the hotel rooms than most of the times for football players. I'm just lucky that I can live my life, and of course it's not easy. I have to work for it, and not everybody can. But I had the talent, which gave me the opportunity to live my life the way I did. And I really hate people that really look down on people and say like, "Oh, yeah," and that's why I'm more a Messi guy, because Messi for me is more normal than without respect. With the respect, I respect Ronaldo and his work great, but if I see him on the pitch and somebody's making dribbling from his own half on the byline and passes the goalkeeper and then pushes the ball to Ronaldo and he taps it in on the goal line, and then he still celebrates for himself like and I know he's angry after games when they win 3-0 because he didn't score. He's more like an egoist, and that's what he needs to play well. I'm more a team player like Messi, and I'm like a normal guy, and not a flashy guy. And I saw the documentary of Ronaldo, and I didn't like it too much, to be honest. Sorry for all the Ronaldo fans.
So on that note, Sander, thank you so much for talking to me, and I wish you all the best for your future campaigns, whatever you're doing, and I hope we can talk again soon. Best of luck. Stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you, and you too. Stay safe. Ciao.